I'm sure that Meghan did not expect the fallout that came from her appearance on The Ellen Show. And there are a couple reasons to her unusual silence that you can use to deal with toxic personalities. Welcome back, my body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and it will be great if you join us by just liking this video, subscribing, and hitting that bell. Let's get down to it. Toxic personalities have seemingly random patterns of behavior that can be classified into two main objectives. The first one is, of course, obtain any kind of gain or reward for themselves. The second one is always try to prove that other people are wrong. Oddly enough, these two goals are not always aligned. And that's exactly why sometimes you wonder why does one person could do something that hurts themselves just to prove that they are right and everyone else is wrong. In Meghan's case, over the last few months, there is an interesting pattern about how she has tried over and over again to gain notoriety. Even if she really doesn't need to gain notoriety per se, what she really needs is to manage her own reputation. And you know how that has worked out. Because before the Ellen appearance, there were a couple other relevant moments, with a special mention to her 40 by 40 initiative. Have you wondered why we haven't heard about any kind of results from that campaign? She was going to invite 40 friends to offer 40 minutes of their time to give coaching to women that lost their jobs to the current pandemic. A noble goal, maybe strangely designed, but a noble goal indeed. Now, how many times have you heard anyone in your circle of friends or co-workers, someone that says they're going to do something good, and time passes and nothing happens? And this is very important. I'm not talking about people saying that they're going to fix something in their lives that is broken, and time passes by and it's still a mess. Pretty much like Harry's hair, which can only be fixed with Photoshop. And exactly like Harry's hair, if something remains unfixed over weeks or even months, people are going to notice. But I'm talking about actual positive, proactive, good deeds. Like someone saying that they're going to do something good for the community. The moment you hear them say it, if they sound convincing enough, your opinion of them will rise, will improve. Hey, this person wants to do something good. Hey, Meghan wants a bunch of her friends to talk for a whopping 40 minutes of their time. What's really suspicious of that statement is that Meghan claims to have 40 friends. But then a few months have passed and nothing has been said about that. And it's not like she's doing something bad for not updating us on that project, but there's a second factor to weigh in. And that's her victory over the Mail on Sunday. Meghan won a decisive victory in her long-running legal feud with a British tabloid that revolved around the leak of the letter to her father. What's so strange is that despite that now everyone knowing that she forgot to disclose relevant details in court, that's a win for her. Hey, give yourself a pat in the back, Meg. That's why it's so strange that 2 weeks after she only gave a written statement and that's it. I'm sure you know at least one person that is always bragging about everything they do, every single victory, every single win, and there are never enough WhatsApp stories to amplify them. These 2 weeks since that legal victory were the perfect timing to release that kind of material. Which other wins have you achieved? Like any interview from those women benefited from the 40 by 40 initiative? Well, of course, if there is any. But there is nothing. There is silence. A very odd reaction for a woman that is not really famous for being discreet. And this is the kind of human behavior riddles that we face every day and we sometimes don't stop to think about them. You expect a certain behavior from a person and it doesn't happen, or the opposite happens. That is a contradiction. And if you've been following my channel for some time, you'll know how relevant are contradictions to define personalities and understand what is going through their heads. There are contradictions between words and body language, but there are also contradictions of timing. But this time we have a solid answer for this riddle, and that answer begins with Ellen. The backlash from Meghan's appearance on The Ellen Show has been nothing short of brutal. For someone that claims that she was deeply hurt for how the British tabloids treated her, the fallout as a result from her Ellen Show appearance was absolutely her doing and no one else's. Now, I mentioned that toxic personalities do things just for two reasons, either to gain something or flat out prove others wrong. I don't think Meghan went to the Ellen show to gain exposure. After all, she is already the most searched royal figure, an accolade that of course has nothing to do with her reputation. That's a totally different thing. So that means that she went on the Ellen show to prove people wrong. Prove that people is wrong about something about herself. And this is basic math. She went with Ellen to present herself as relatable. It means that, for some reason, she thought that the public opinion was starting to turn against her. And that's why it's so relevant, the topic of her letter to her father. Because absolutely nobody tolerates someone that lies about herself coming from a struggling background and at the same time smearing and raping her father out of her life. She was beginning to be perceived as the villain. There were too many doubts cast over her intentions, and if lies begin to pile up, and you need something to reset the public's opinion about you. And this is important. 2 years ago, when Meghan was still a royal, she was perceived as a revolutionary. And if you saw the BBC's documentary, The Princess and the Press, that's exactly how her role was painted. A savior that came from Los Angeles to renew the decaying British monarchy. Megxit was a really big deal in that regard. It was an act of defiance that just boosted Meghan and Harry's notoriety. Notoriety is not the same as reputation. The difference between being famous and infamous. But fast forward 2 years. What happens now? You are already free, there is no influence from the British royal family, you got the independence and the privacy that you wanted. But you still use your title when ordering kebab delivery. 2 years ago you were the revolutionary, but now you don't even have an identity. You don't treat yourself like having an identity outside being the Duchess of Sussex, a title that was given by those that you publicly and openly rejected. I'm sure that even her own fans have trouble wrapping their heads around that decision. Why do you keep using that title? That's why she made a fool of herself on the Ellen show, to regain part of that being relatable, an iconoclast, a revolutionary that was her image back then, but an image that began to fade the moment Megxit was completed. But Ellen's stint didn't go as she expected, at all, because she realized that she was, plain and simple, bullied and ridiculed by her host in front of the whole world. She did not become relatable again. She became a fool, a Duchess fool. Or is it a foolish Duchess? And all those unofficial claims that she's allegedly furious make total sense. There is no other explanation to her total silence in the days following her legal victory. Because 1, she doesn't have the bragging rights because her initiatives have not been fruitful yet. I wonder why. And 2, it will be really difficult to rebound from drinking milk from a baby bottle and eating cookies like a chipmunk. This happens at the same time that the Cambridges have been striking the iron hot every single week since Catherine's golden dress. Meghan is all over the place, both in activities and in her public relationships. And people notice that. They might try to pass it as, I want to have my privacy with my family, but we already know her definition of that word. If you get one thing from this video, is that sometimes it's too difficult to figure out someone's behavior at first sight, or in just one encounter. But when you zoom out and begin to look at all the different pieces of the puzzle, you can go even beyond body language. And if that's the way you manage to understand the behavior of others, then so be it. If you want to refine your observation skills, all you have to do is download my 100 body language tips right in the description of this video. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas, and it will always be a pleasure, my body language buddies. Much love and bliss.